All right, guys, it is hot in Georgia today. I am sweating profusely like I just came out of it's basically a sauna in Georgia. And I have no AC in the shop, so we got all the doors open, but you know what? It's a good way to sweat it out, get all those toxins out, and maybe lose some weight, right? So today we're back on the 84 300 SD. Got it up on the lift. And we're going to start, I guess this is the first, this is part 3. I think this is part 3. So today we start on front suspension. And you can see all the boxes here. And look at all these goodies we just got in. We have some new, ooh, look at these. These are nice. These are ATE. Nice. ATE, original equipment manufacturer. ATE calipers. There's the rear. I think these are the fronts over here. I love new parts. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is, there's the front. It looks like they put me a rear in there. So I need to send that back. Unless there's a front in here. Okay, there we go. There we go. There's 2 fronts and 2 rears. I wonder why they did that. It looks like the rear went in the big box and the front went in the small box. Whatever. Got some beautiful ATE calipers. Look at these. They're the coated ones. Awesome. All right. What's all these goodies? So, looks like we have some rear shocks here. Maybe those are the front shocks. I don't know. A bunch of Limford suspension parts. Let's check these out. What do we got here? These are the engine mounts. That's the good brand, guys. What do we got down here? We got a man filter. Here's some wheel bearings. Got our wheel bearings kit. Got some brake pads. Here's some brake hoses or brake lines. Here's some sway bar end links. Let's see what we got up here. These are our ball joints. Yes, beautiful. Got some new Limford ball joints. This would be our steering shock. Bilstein air filter. Let's see, what are these guys? Did I already look in here? I bet you these are brake control, or control rod bushing. Yes, these are brand new control rod bushings. So I still have, there's our transmission pan gasket and transmission filter. Here's a hose for the, this is the in-tank. The hose that goes from the in-tank filter to the fuel line. Going to replace that. What are these guys up here? Let's see if we can cut those open. Those are our tie rods. So, got a lot of stuff that came in. Still have some more stuff coming. Looks like another set of shocks are on the way. And anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start disassembling. And I think today, while I'm doing the front suspension, I also want to go ahead, remove the oil pan. And I have an oil pan gasket. All right, we got a Victor Rhines. Here's our oil pan gasket up here. Anyway, so got a work cut out for us today. This is going to be a several day process. Oh, and over here, I have the OEM fuel pan. Fuel pan. What the hell am I talking about? Oil pan. Let's see. There we go. There is a beautiful condition oil pan. All right. So, there we go. So let's go ahead and start disassembling. So, all right, today guys, we're starting on the front suspension rebuild. We have all of the parts in, and I have my new Milwaukee. This is a fuel brushless M18. And so I'm going to try to start using this instead of the air compressor. These apparently are pretty good. We'll see. Let's see if it can take off some wheels. Okay, that was promising. Yeah, so far so good. That is really going to be the main use for this guy. And it's just simple. It saves me, it really only saves me the time of winding up the air compressor hose, turning on the air compressor valve. With this, I'm done. I can just set it back down on the workbench and move on to the next one. So first thing I noticed about this car, somebody put up aftermarket, look at that. I guess they must have lost one of the lug nuts. That is not an original lug nut. So I'm going to take that guy off of there. It's not a 17 millimeter. What is that? That looks like it's 18 or 19 millimeter. Let me get the right socket. Anyway, what we want to do is inspect everything on this car. All right. Interesting. Somebody put a stud. That's what that is. Somebody put a stud into here. No idea why. I haven't seen that before. Anyway, we're getting all new, I'm going to take all this apart and we're going to put new calipers, new calipers and rotors. And let me move this wheel out of the way. I'm guessing what happened is the mechanics at some point lost one of the lug bolts. So they just put a stud in here and put a screw on lug nut. I mean, that's exactly what happened. So we'll go ahead and twist that guy out of here. Anyway, all this is coming apart. Those are very old. There's a pretty good lip in them. So those have tens of thousands of miles on them. Of course, we're changing it. And I'm going to guess that these are the original calipers. Let's see. These are... Okay, these are ATE calipers because the Bendix has the cotter pin that holds these in and the ATE is a press fit. So we're putting brand new OEM ATE calipers on here. And I mean, that hose is not really in bad shape at all, but we're going to put new hoses. We've got new hoses and we've got new shocks. Guys, I don't think I have to replace this. This is in beautiful condition. We will take a look at it once we get the spindle off and try to move. We'll move this back and forth. And the bushings up there are in beautiful condition, as are the bushings down here. No reason to change these. However, excuse me. We're going to get these nasty all ball joints and tie rods out of here for sure. So let's go ahead and we'll get the other wheel off and then we'll start the disassembly. All right, so I'm looking over here on the passenger side and we have the same thing going on. There is a stud. I don't know if that was, they were trying to do some sort of security feature or something. I have no idea why one stud would be in both sides, one on here and one on the other. So anyway, we're taking all this off. We will figure that out. Okay, I'm here at the rear wheel, passenger side. Same goes for the driver's side. We have that stud installed. There's one stud here and there's one stud over on the rear driver's side. And I figured out why they did this. You notice I have all the bolts removed, but that wheel is still hanging on the car. Now, if this was just the original Mercedes setup, that wheel would want to fall off. They put a stud on every hub so you could install a wheel and then you wouldn't have to hold the wheel on there. So they did it as ease of installation. You notice the wheel doesn't come off. So that's why that was done. So they could hang the wheels up there, because when you don't have the stud and you go to put a wheel up there, you have to hold the wheel on there with one hand while you're putting the bolts in, or else the wheel will fall off. So that's why that was done. We'll go ahead and remove these and go back to factory original. All right, next thing we're going to do is just go ahead and tap off these grease caps. All you do is tap a little and then spin it. There we go. And let's just check. That is the original grease in there. These have never been re-greased. So I definitely ordered new bearings. So we're going to replace all that. But just looking at the condition of it. And this is the little radio interference, like this little copper pin that plugs into the end. And we can see there's that old crusty grease in there. That's definitely the original stuff, which not a problem. We're just going to change all of it. It's time. Here we are on the passenger side. And you can see here, this grease was actually changed over here. See, that grease is still good. So they might have replaced a squeaky or problematic bearing on this side, but doesn't matter. We're changing them all. All right, here is the real test for my new Milwaukee half-inch impact, the little mini one. Let's see if it can actually break loose a caliper bolt. Wow, that's impressive. This little guy has already proved its worth. Let's see if we can get up in here. I need an extension for that one. All right, let's see if we can get in here. I can't get the top one. So this little guy is going back to Home Depot. They claim 650 foot-pounds of torque. That's BS. So let me go ahead and get the air impact, and we're going to go finish taking these off. All right, guys, here's the difference between a proper impact and that little cheesy Milwaukee. This is an Ingersoll Rand half-inch impact hooked up to an air compressor. See how easy that came out? This is really 650 foot-pounds. That stuff that Milwaukee claims is simply not true. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Milwaukee tools. All of my battery-operated tools are Milwaukee. They do a good job, but that advertises 650 foot-pounds of torque, and I promise you, that bolt was not in there with 650 pound-foot of torque to break it loose. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and return this because it failed to properly work on front suspension after the first 10 minutes. Hey, are y'all fighting? Hey, come here. Are y'all fighting? Hey, buddy. I love you too. Jefferson. Hey, Jefferson. Hey, Thomas. 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 Where are you going? Where are you going? All right. Even though we're replacing these rotors, these calipers, we're not going to disconnect the lines and do anything until later. We just want to hang them up here on the sway bar. Now, so when you have a lip on the rotor like this, you often have to have a pry bar to get the caliper to come off the rotor. So you just simply stick a pry bar under there, and you don't need to do anything crazy. Just push it off of there, like we just did. Now, I'm going to stick this is just, I don't know, for like 2 gauge or 4 gauge wire or something like that. And it just fits real easily right through the caliper. I just have these hanging on the wall. And then I'll just go around the sway bar and twist that wire together, and that'll stay there until we're done with the suspension work. And then when it's time to reassemble the calipers, we'll take off the brake lines and calipers. So now that we have the rotor off, the caliper, now that we have the caliper off, we're going to go ahead and get our number 5 metric Allen head and loosen the little set screw in the spindle nut. This little set screw is what holds the spindle nut in place and keeps your wheel from coming off. This little piece right here is what holds that wheel on, holds on this whole assembly. And same goes for like muscle cars, American muscle cars. They do the same things. It's a common vehicle design, normal design on the front end at least. So we're going to screw that off of there. We'll go set this with our dust grease covers, grease caps. And now that that's off, we can take off. And there we go. There's our outer bearing. And our inner bearing is behind that seal. But again, we're replacing all of this stuff. So we'll just set this aside for now. Now, what you do want to do when you pull off a caliper or a hat, call that the hat or the hub. But on race cars, we call it the hat. So we're going to clean off all the grease from the spindle here and just make sure that's in good condition. And this spindle is beautiful. These are very strong forged steel. You never see problems with these, but it's always good to just inspect it. And the surface is very good, smooth. That's not damaged at all. So that's great. So the next thing we're going to do is take off the dust shield. And again, that's just the 5mm. Crack them loose, and then we're going to go get the 5mm Allen and put it on the impact. There we go. Get that off of there. Now we're back to our Milwaukee, because this is like a baby job, and I guess the battery powered could be more convenient. But I could have just as easily swapped the tip on my air tool. So really, by not getting that one bolt out, this Milwaukee lost its value. This is the hub. All right. And here, of course, is the dust shield. And the first thing you want to do, put your bolts back into your spindle or steering knuckle. There's so many words for these things. Steering knuckle, that's what this is. It's a steering knuckle. We'll put those back in there so we don't lose them. All right, so next thing we want to do is start popping the tie rods and all the linkage off. You can see up under the car. There's our center link. There's our steering shock. There we go. Steering shock goes there. Center link goes here. Inner part of the tie rod. Outer part of the tie rod. We're going to go ahead and bust all that loose all the way over to the other side. Okay, next thing we want to do, start breaking loose the nuts on all the suspension. Now, this would be a good job for our baby impact, because these are only on there with like 30 foot-pounds of torque or so. It's not much. So we're going to go around and just break them all loose. And it would be so nice if this could actually get up in there and do that. Oh, so close. Nope, can't get up there. We'll do that one by hand. All right, now we need to get in here with a wrench to break the ones loose on the, let's see, the pitman arm, and over here on the idler arm. All right, guys, the next one we need to get to is right there. So we can get up there and break it loose with our hand wrench, our hand socket. Let's see. There we go. So we broke it loose. And again, I'm not hating on Milwaukee. Here's another Milwaukee. Let's see if we can get this guy in here to go ahead and get it off. There we go. So much quicker. This tool is great. This is a Milwaukee. It's their Fuel 3/8 drive. However, it breaks about every 5 months, but it's got a 5-year warranty. You just send it back, they repair it and send it back to you. But I mean, it breaks because I'm, beating the hell out of these in the shop. These are getting used daily. So for an enthusiast, this would not break on you. The trick is when you put it on the bolt, you never want to force this one with your hand. You want the machine to do all the work. And if you have to force it with your hand, you need to go ahead and get a manual tool. So let's go ahead and get the other side over here. There's our other one right there. And I'm doing this, all the steering is just straight. Everything's in a straight line. And that's enough room to pretty much get everything undone. I think there's a couple of items I have to turn the steering wheel, but let's see if we can get this Milwaukee up here. We barely got that in there, but we did it. All right, so now I broke all those loose. Now we need to get our tool, basically our ball joint separator, and we'll hook that up here and show you how that works. All right, you guys have seen this before, ball joint separator. All it is a fulcrum. Put them on there, and I like to put just a little piece of metal in between the tip here, just give it a little earlier leverage. And we're gonna try the little Milwaukee 1/2-inch drive, see if we can crank that on there and bust that loose. Oh gosh, she barely had enough power. Barely. She got stuck and I had to keep pulling the trigger, but it got it done. Let's see if it can handle, another one. All right, let's see if she can do it again. Little baby impact. Whoops. I'll put in my little helper. All right. See if she can do this side. Setting. Oh, there we go. Went to a little more powerful setting. And she got that one off of there. All right. Now, the little Milwaukee may have redeemed herself because right here, it's a real tight fit trying to get up here in this area. You can't do it with a normal impact, and you have to use a hand tool, but look at that. This little Milwaukee can get in there. Let's get some light here for you guys. I don't know if that's helping. Whoops. There we go. We have one tie rod off the car. Let's go get the other side. All right, we can see the other one right up in there. Not gonna be that lucky. So might be able to get it with an extension. Let me try an extension. All right, let's see if we can get up here with this. Nope, she's not gonna give us this side. So I'm gonna have to do this one with a manual wrench. All right, let's get up here with our manual crank. There we go. And that's just gonna go flying. We're just gonna stand back. There we go. That is 2 tie rods. All right, the next one we need to get out here is the center link. That goes across and attaches the steering arm over to this is the pitman arm, and over on the other side, which is the idler arm. It is dark and the light is on the other side, but here we go. You guys can see it right here. There is the idler arm. Let me get the light for you. There you go. The idler arm right there connects to the center link, so you can see right here. And that center link goes all the way across. There's the steering shock right there. And that center link comes across to our pitman arm. So on one side of the pitman arm, we have the center link. And on the other side, we already broke it loose, but it was the tie rod. So now we need to break this center link loose. This one, we can use our impact on. And I'm just going to stand out of the way here, because these always go flying, and it's no fun when they hit you in the head. There we go. That's one side. All right, there's our other one. And we might need to do this manually, depending on if we can get our tool. There we go. See, the steering is no longer connected, so we can move the center link now to where we want it. And there we go. It's going to go good right there. Otherwise, the frame is always in the way of this one, so you disconnect the other ones first. All right, let's get our impact. There we go. Okay, so you're going to notice, see, the center link is now disconnected. But see right there, this is the steering shock or the steering stabilizer. See, that one's totally dead. We got a new one to put on there. So we can disconnect that one from the frame right here. I think it's a 17 millimeter nut. So we'll go ahead and get that off of there. Okay, so to get this one off, I'm pretty sure that's a 17 millimeter on the top. Yeah, and a 17 millimeter on the bottom. All right, there we go. So once you have that nut loose, you can just push it through. Now, I like to go ahead and put the nut, the bolt and nut right back in there so you don't lose them. There you go. And there we go. This is what we've done so far. The calipers are hanging up on the car. Bearings, hubs or hats, rotors, dust shields, outer tie rod, inner tie rod, steering shock or steering stabilizer, tie rod here, and then same goes for the other side. And again, we're replacing all this stuff. Now, again, the inspection of these bushings are outstanding condition. Guys, I've replaced bushings that look like that before, and it ended up just being a total waste of time. And I've done it several times. I've learned my lesson. These lower control arm bushings last a very long time on these old Mercedes. So it's completely unnecessary for me to go through the trouble to change those. However, we want to go ahead and next we're going to undo our shocks from the top so we can basically bend our shock down and out and disconnect it here. And then we can put our spring compressor in here and compress this spring, but I want to get the shock out of the way first. So to get those shocks out, we need to lower the car and undo them from the top, but I'm don't know if you guys have seen the new lift. I've been using it in a few series. Most videos you see are on the Atlas lift over here. And this is an ALM lift. Let's see, 7002A is the part number. And I actually got this from a, it was from a dealership that was going, that was getting new lifts. And I called my buddy Steven, who runs Lift Doctors. He said he had it. It was in good condition. And this was used at the dealership for years. Oh, let me get underneath here. So I just had it installed here, and it's a fantastic lift. It's very, very fast. It's got a lot of miles on it, but still works great. So let's get this thing lowered down. Watch out, Thomas. There you go. Look how fast that goes. All right, it's good for now. All right, now we got to get access to the shock. Which is right here. And Mercedes makes it a little tricky. Instead of using a lock nut, they have two nuts on here. So you basically have to have a 17 millimeter like this, which is shaved down. There we go. See, it shaved down really thin. See how I shaved it down like that? And that allows you to get access to one side without interfering with the top nut, which you can then get on here. And get off like that. Here. I can actually move that nut so it's spinning. That's good. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try our baby impact again. And we might be able to just spin that thing off of there real quick. Yep. We got it. Sometimes those get stuck on there and it's a bitch. Woo! That nut is hot. And we're replacing all our rubber bushings. You see we got a rubber bushing in here that I'm prying out right now. Damn, that is hot. Set that down. There we go. Come on, get out of there. All right. There's our old bushing and old nut. That stuff's going to come out of here. Let's go ahead and do the other side. All right, so since we got both of the shocks undone relatively easy, this car didn't give me any problems at all. We're going to go ahead and raise it back up and pull those shocks through. All right, guys, getting these shocks out, pretty easy once they're disconnected. You just force them down. There we go. And then there we go. Right here you have a 10 millimeter and there's also a 10 millimeter right there. So we need to get a wrench to get those out. I mean a socket to get those out. All right, let's see if we can get these guys out of here. And again, I'm using my Milwaukee. Comes in handy yet again. So maybe I was too hard on this little guy. Maybe it's not as, just because it couldn't get that one bolt loose, maybe I was too hard on it. Let me push this down. All right, then you can get access in here to the back. There we go. We just got our shock out. All right, we have the shock off, and we can see the shock cover is in excellent shape. It's not broken at all. There's the, we'll replace these rubber mounts. Rubber bushings. Also the bump stop. That's in incredible condition. Now Bilstein sends us some new bump stops with the new shocks right there. So we'll go ahead and use those, but let's go ahead and see if this shock is actually in good condition. I'm just compressing it, and then I'm gonna let go. There we go, look at that. That shock is still good. And you see that a lot on these old Mercedes. They're 40 years and 100,000 miles, and the shocks are still fine. They're very resilient. But since we're replacing everything up front, we want to go ahead and replace that shock. So let's go ahead, and we got it from this side. Let's go ahead and get it off the other side of the car. So guys, there's a reason I undid all those tie rods and center link and all that first. There we go. See how I have the shock actually turned out and down, and it clears the wheel well? Well, to do that, you have to be able to turn the spindle out of the way. See, I turned the spindle, and that allows the shock to pull down, and that gives you access to that rear bolt back there. So let's go ahead and get this one out of here. Okay, here's where we are so far. Shocks, tie rod, center link, suspension stabilizer or steering shock, dust shields, bearings, rotors, and hubs. So next thing we want to do is compress the spring here. Just get it up out of the spring perch a little bit, so that then we can remove the ball joint. Well, I don't have my light, sorry. The ball joint nut, which is right there, and the upper ball joint nut, which is here. But you want to compress that spring, because if that comes flying out and bangs you in the head, you're a dead man. So for years, I have been using, let's see, where's my spring compressor kit? Here it is. So this was a cheap kit that I ordered off of eBay. And you can see this one's been used a lot, but I actually had this one slipped loose with me one day. And this is a $150 kit. I don't think anything's wrong with it. I think it was just a freak incident where one of these slipped on the spring, but that was not a good situation. So I do not trust this thing anymore. So I've gone ahead and I ordered the original tool that Mercedes used, which is the exact same thing as that, but it's made by Klon. Whoops, it's made by Klon, or which is now I think Giord. It's a German company, and I ordered it directly from the manufacturer. It's $1,000 for the tool versus $150. So I'll show you guys that tool, and it's very, very nicely made. I ordered it through a wholesale account I had with the manufacturer, and it actually took them 6 weeks to get it here. But now I have the official tool, so you'll see me use that for the first time on here. And it's $1,000. For most of you guys, that $150 eBay tool or Amazon tool is going to do fine, because you're going to do this once on your car, maybe twice to help out your buddy, right? Guys, I'm doing this on a daily basis, or at least once a week. And so I really need to order the professional tool. So let's take a look at that one. All right, guys, I'm going to show you the difference. So this is a basically $750 tool wholesale, $1,000 retail versus $150 on Amazon. So if we look at the shaft, so you can see here where this the diameter of the shaft, I had to grind that down on a grinder in order to fit through the top shock hole of a 123 chassis. Otherwise, it will not fit through there. You have to grind it down. It's just barely too big. Whereas this tool is the correct size. This will slip right through there. And you can see the top is, looks like it's a little tapered here. But the quality of material also, this is very, very high quality steel. This is not. You can see how beat up this tool has gotten, where this tool will last a lifetime. Also, the safety locks. So on this tool, there is a steel, let's see, that's like, what do you call those things? They're press fit pins that go through here. And you see here, it's just like a little bump it just has a little bump right there that keeps the tool from spinning when you apply torque. And let's see, yeah, down here you can see how these are all chewed up and mangled. And this is an extremely high quality steel. It's not going to get messed up. Also, these plates, looks like the plates, they're coated with something. I guess that's going to be zinc. And these plates are uncoated. But really, it's the machining of the tool and the quality of the metal. Where, just feeling this tool and holding it in my hand, and also the fact that it fits in the chassis correctly, you can feel this tool is going to last a lifetime. And this tool, I've probably used it on 10 or 15 cars, and it's about had it. But yeah, there is, it might not appear to be a huge difference, but you're looking at basically 10 times the quality of a tool. And this tool is made by, this is the company that actually made it for the dealership, Mercedes. They were the, I guess, subcontractors. It used to be called Klein. Oh, well, they still have Klein in the name, but it's Jidori. And there's the part number. I think one is the long shaft and one is the short shaft. This is actually the long shaft designed for the front suspension. So anyway, guys, that's all I'm going to show for this video. I think we're approaching like 30 minutes, and we've gotten all the front suspension out of the car, like tie rods and shocks. So the next video, part 2 of the suspension, will be removing the springs and the steering knuckles, and starting to reassemble and put the new parts back on the car. So that's going to be part 2 of the suspension, which will be part 4 in the series. Anyway, and you'll get to see me using this tool too. So please like and subscribe, and talk to me in the comments, and give me a call. Let's talk. I like talking to you guys and answering all your questions in the comments. So, and Thomas is actually saying hello too. Say hey, Thomas. Hey, Jefferson. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.